All right. Here we go on a Sunday morning in Las Vegas. Just after 8 o'clock, I'm Brian Feldman, and this is Outta Line. We're here at the same time every week on Fox Sports Radio, 98.9 FM at 1340 AM, flagship of the Vegas Golden Knights. We are live right now at Kickers Gaming and Sports Bar just down the road from Cashman Center. The address is 931 North Las Vegas Boulevard. Kickers will be our home for a while. It has been due to COVID-19 protocol. All live shows have been booted from the Fox Sports Residential Bancorp studio, and all we have been told is that it is until further notice. So if you're up and mobile, come down and join us. We'll hook you up with some free donuts and orange juice. And Kickers is offering mimosa and Bloody Mary specials during the show. Joining me on the show, our social media director, Spencer the Wiz Ostrovsky.
Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz.
He is the only intern in the country, matter of fact, the world, with his own theme music. Although Spencer no longer a Wiz, I should say no longer a Wiz. He'll always be the Wiz, but he's no longer an intern, as he also has his own sports talk show now, delivering sports Friday nights at 7 on KSHP, which is 1400 AM on your radio dial. Also part of the show in social distancing, back in the Fox Sports Residential Bancorp studio, producer and future WWE star Dino Damon, a.k.a. Damon Cotton. The show is also streaming on the LV Sports Network, and you can watch the show on Facebook Live. The page is called Outta Line. That's Outtaline. You can also follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at Outta Line Fox LV. One more time, that's at Outta Line Fox LV. Give us a like, give us a listen. We enjoy it. We appreciate you. And since we are live, your calls and questions are welcome. Fox Sports Residential Bancorp studio line is 702-876-1340.
Hi, this is Bubby, and it's time for What's on Tap.
What's on Tap is brought to you by title sponsor Residential Bancorp. Whether purchasing a new home or refinancing the home you currently own, Residential Bancorp is the company to turn to for all your home financing needs. Residential Bancorp, funding America one neighborhood at a time. On tap, the Vegas Golden Knights snapped a season-high 3-game home losing streak. Something happened yesterday at Augusta National that has never happened before. Stick around, you'll find out what that is. And 8 News Now, Ron Futrell, he'll be joining us in just a few minutes to share over a quarter century of Las Vegas sports memories. Ron is a lot of fun to talk to, man. Stick around. You get to see him on 8 News Live. You get to see a lot of the stuff he does on their website, but hearing him live in person and talking for a while is going to be pretty cool. I got a chance to sit with him at a Vegas Golden Knights viewing party a couple of weeks ago, and love the guy, man. He is a lot of fun to talk to and just an absolute plethora of sports knowledge. So stick around or come on down to Kickers Gaming and Sports Bar right now. We'll be here for the next hour. The address again is 931 North Las Vegas Boulevard, just down the road from Cashman Center and the Neon Graveyard. That's what's on tap. If you are looking to buy a home or to refinance the home you currently own, choose the company you can trust. Residential Bancorp, funding America one neighborhood at a time. No, I can't.
Hockey players, as you know, are warriors. They don't give up. They come to play every game.
It's time for Nightcap, a cup full of the Vegas Golden Knights. From highlights to interviews to special events, the puck starts here.
Puck does start here, and we were going to jump into Nightcap in 1 second. I did want to mention real quick, so just quickly about Kickers Gaming and Sports Bar, which has been our home now for the last few months. It's one of the very few standalone sports bars in downtown Las Vegas. The place is awesome. If you're watching us on YouTube, on Facebook Live, man, you can see behind me the great we don't call it kind of collage art. It's just tremendous. It's down here. It's awesome. And listen, they've got 17 TVs showing all the big games. They've got the NHL package, the Sunday ticket. And the cool thing about this place, the game sound is on when you're here. So you can listen, you can see it. Today's a great day to come on down. They'll have the Masters on all day long on some of their big screens. They've also got 15 gaming machines available. They got the social distancing plastic up, and they're at about 50% capacity, which sooner or later we will move up to 100% capacity. And one of the really cool things about this place also is they're a full service tavern license, which means they have ability to sell the beer to you to take home the same beer they sell at the bar. Not a lot of places have that. Kickers does. Appreciate Jennifer Metzger and, of course, Dylan Reese for letting us do the show here for the last several months. It is during the NFL season a Packers bar. So during Packers games, they've got swag, jerseys they're giving away, all kinds of stuff. And Vegas Golden Knights games, probably not a better place to view the Vegas Golden Knights than right here, because not only is the game sound on, but $2 shots during the entire game. And every time the Knights score, you get a free shot. Last night, you would have gotten 7 free shots, the most goals the Vegas Golden Knights have scored all season. And hey, for all the frontline workers out there, it is 50% off your bar tab 24/7, 7 days a week. They pay it forward here. So definitely come on down and check it out. As we mentioned, Spencer, getting it a nightcap. All I can say is, wow, the Vegas Golden Knights finally really broke out last night. 7 big goals. Of course, Pacioretty scored an empty netter at the end of the game, but still really cool what they did as far as coming alive, getting things done. And this team was just going to get it done, and that's just the way it is. They weren't going to be denied last night, and they were not.
Yeah, and Pacioretty obviously did have to score that just to make his stat. It's an empty net goal. No, just kidding. But how about the rookie? I think he's a rookie. Kolsar is his name. I don't know, but yeah. Okay, I was just making sure. But no, he played a great game.
Number 55.
Yeah, and he was behind the net. He had that nice steal, and he's playing hard the entire time. We've kind of wanted that from our rookies for a long time now, but it's hard because everyone thought this would be a young team that would develop over time, like over 5 years before they had a chance to make the playoffs. We had Cody Glass, who plays a little too erratic, I guess is probably the best way to put it. We want a little bit more out of him, but maybe that's not what the Golden Knights need, right? We're already one of the fastest teams in the league, and we can score a lot of goals, but it's those gritty guys that I think we've been searching for this entire time. Someone in the playoffs, well, it's hard to say whether a rookie will play in the playoffs, but there's more important things than just what happens this season because these guys aren't going to be around forever. Some of them are getting up in age, and you always have to have a farming system. Yeah, so yeah.
Ron Futrell, I don't want to keep him on hold. And then he got up early in the morning to join us, and he's typing on the Knights. He knows the Vegas Golden Knights real well. And Ron joining us right now on the show. First of all, welcome to the show, my friend.
Morning, Brian. Glad to be here. Congrats on the new little critter born. Okay.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Grandchild for the first time, and that's exciting. Oh, it gets fun now, Brian.
You hear him? Okay, I'm. You are. I'm not.
Can you hear me?
Can
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh no, I got you, brother. I don't know.
Okay.
Little delay. Yes, I hear you now. But yeah, I appreciate it so much. It, I always say time passes and things change. I can't believe I'm finally a grandfather. It is the coolest experience in the world. Having my children was incredible, and getting to experience this. And I was there. I was my daughter's 1+ because you only can bring one person in these days to the hospital, and I was the guy. And all I can say is, wow, it's incredible. Little Babe Ruth, as I call him. His name's Sincere, but I call him Babe Ruth because I told her I didn't like the name Sincere. But it was pretty cool. But before we jump in real quick, Ron, I just want to ask you how you're doing. I know you just had some surgery yesterday. You all right?
Yeah, doing well. Yeah, I got in a car accident not long ago, and so I had to get the knee fixed, and had to get just touch it up a little bit, tune it up. So that's what we're doing now.
The Golden Knights might need you on the ice soon, so it's good that the knees.
They could. I mean, my 46-inch vertical leap is probably going to go down to 45 now, so my NBA career is going to slow down. But okay, I bet you I could still jump to 45. We'll give it a shot.
I want to come out and witness that because I don't know if I could jump to 10. So that's pretty good. But I got to tell you, we were watching the Golden Knights a couple weeks ago. We saw them play. We've been watching it for 3 years. It's been one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced. I will never, ever forget 2017. You have that just horrific incident, one of the worst incidences in Vegas history, if not the worst, the shooting that took place at the country concert from Mandalay Bay. And then the Golden Knights kind of help unite this community in a way I've never seen and make a run at the Stanley Cup in their very first year of existence. A bunch of misfits that considered not one of the top 10 players on their teams. And they do something that's just miraculous. No other sports franchise in history in any sports has done what they did. And that is make it all the way to the the championship series, and they have continued that. I mean, the second year they get screwed in Game 7 against the Sharks. Some bad officiating at the end of the game. I don't like making excuses, but that was god awful. And then last year again, they make it to the conference finals, and now they've got a team that once again I think has the ability to compete for the Stanley Cup. But Ron, it's been a little bit inconsistent. Their special teams have not been as good as they have been in years past. But last night they really broke it open. They scored more goals than they have all season. Riley Smith gets a couple goals, and now we're seeing one of our bruisers, our big guy, William Carrier. Man, all of a sudden he's become a goal scorer.
that would be nice if that fourth line can contribute like it did the first year. That was part of the magic, is what they were able to do the first year. But yeah, Carrier is indeed a bruiser. You mentioned Keegan Colasar. I talked with Keegan. I did a one-on-one interview with him, a Zoom call, probably 2 weeks ago, and I've featured it a couple of Thursday nights on my segment on Channel 8, my Striking Gold segment. Fun guy to talk to, and I've talked to Keegan quite a few times live because he just sort of stood out to me as a player that was fun to watch, that enjoyed himself on the ice, and tough physical goal scorer. Anyway, his I don't know if you're aware of this, but back in September last year when they were in the bubble, his father, Charles Patterson, who was actually his stepfather, lived in South Carolina, former baseball player in the Pirates organization, got COVID and ended up dying. He had to leave the bubble to be with his family and to be with his father, and fortunately was able to get down to South Carolina to be with him before he passed. And he was also able to see him play a couple of games in the NHL. His father did. So that part was nice that he was able to do that. But still, this kid's been through a lot of tragedy and tough times lately, and now he's excelling and getting better every game out on the ice. His birth father used to play for the Raiders. K.D. Williams was his name, and he's so interesting sports background with Keegan Colasar in both football and baseball. And he fortunately for us, he chose hockey. So we got him here playing with the Vegas Golden Knights. I think he's going to be a great Knights player for a long time, and he is a rookie on this team and now has 2 goals and I think 7 or 8 assists so far this season. But what the Knights need to do, in my opinion, well, not just my opinion, is they can beat up on those California teams and the Arizona team, okay? They could beat the teams in the Southwest, but they have a hard time when it comes to Colorado, obviously Minnesota, and the teams that are good in this division. So the Knights have to figure out a way to beat the haves and not just always beat up on the have-nots, because their record is pretty strong thanks to those victories against Sharks, against Kings, against the Ducks. And that's where they go next week. They go down to Southern California to take on the Kings and the Ducks. So they got to do more than just pile up those wins. They got to show Minnesota and Colorado that they can do something big. And I think St. Louis is probably still going to be there in the end when it comes down to it, too. I think they're a good quality team that 2 years ago won the Cup. They got some goaltending issues to work out. But Bennington stopped 50 shots the other night. So if St. Louis gets their goalkeeping worked out, there's 4 teams that could win this division right now. Yeah, and I'm not sure Arizona can, but there's 4 teams that could.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And like you said, going to California and getting an opportunity to play the teams that they've had a great deal of success with, they really need that right now. They're 4 points behind Colorado for first place. They've got the Ducks just 3 points behind them. So this is an opportunity against teams to get back and potentially get that number 1 seed. But you're absolutely right. First of all, back to Colasar real quick. I did not know that. I'm surprised I did not, about his stepfather passing away from COVID. What a unique story. And of course, Ron Futrell, plethora of knowledge, and I really appreciate that. His biological father playing for the Raiders, a pretty cool story as well. And the goal that he scored in last night's game, if you didn't see it, go back and watch the highlights. Literally came out from behind the net, took the puck away from the Coyote player, and just put it in the net. It was an absolutely beautiful hockey play, very strong play. And if this kid plays like that the rest of the way through, what a great addition and what great help he'll be for the team. But as you said, Colorado really seems to have the Golden Knights number. The speed of that team is really good. They've got tremendous goaltending with Grubauer, and they're going to be a formidable foe for anyone they play in the postseason. And the Knights have to figure out before the end of the season, and they'll get a couple chances against them again before the postseason comes to really try to get some confidence against that team. The same with Minnesota. It's always a tight game. And the Wild are a team you would think they would handle on paper, but they don't. And that hurts them as well. And like you said, the Blues have the experience 1 year removed from the Stanley Cup finals and winning their first ever Stanley Cup, a storied franchise that took forever to finally get their first cup, but they did a couple years ago. And of course, ex-Vegas Golden Knight David Perron, kind of cool to see him go from the Knights in the Stanley Cup finals, losing to the Capitals, to the Blues a year later and getting a chance to win the cup. David Perron, maybe not the friendliest guy in the world, but a hell of a hockey player, and it was good to see that. Right now, the Vegas Golden Knights, one more game at home. They'll play today against the Coyotes again, try to follow up that nice win from Friday night, and then they do head to the road for a bunch of games in California against the Kings and the Ducks and the Sharks, and they're going to need to pick up a lot of victories there. Ron, and the key to hockey and playing it since I was a young kid and watching it my entire life, being from Detroit, dubbed Hockey Town, is the one thing that makes or breaks any team in the postseason is the last line of defense, which is the netminder, man, because you got to put the biscuit in the basket to win the games. And we have seen several times, and we saw a few years back, which really kind of accentuated and brought hockey to the West Coast, was that win by the Los Angeles Kings when they came from the eighth seed, making the playoffs the last day of the regular season, and then they go all the way and win the Stanley Cup. And that was surely on the back of Jonathan Quick, who when they use that term, that overused term, standing on his head, he did it for 4 series in the Stanley Cup finals. And it shows you that one player, a goaltender, gets hot, that they can go a long way. And teams have done that throughout history in the Stanley Cup. And this year, there's goaltenders out of several teams that can make that happen. But the Golden Knights have 2 of them. Marc-Andre Fleury, the ageless wonder, becoming Tom Brady of the National Hockey League. And then, last year to go out and get Robin Lehner as, you can't call him a backup. I mean, they brought him in figuring he would beat out Marc-Andre Fleury. We'd see Lehner playing maybe 4 games and Fleury playing 1. Man, it's almost become an even split rotation. And I give Pete DeBoer all the credit in the world. I think this guy, he is a really good coach. And I think all the people that were upset when Gerard Gallant got let go in the middle of last season are starting to realize Pete DeBoer is the quiet assassin. This guy figures it out. He understands the ins and outs and X's and O's of the game. He will mix up the lines in the middle of the game if he thinks he needs to get something done. And when it comes to goaltending, he's going to play his hot hand in the playoffs. I wouldn't expect these guys to go every other game in the playoffs, although Robin Lehner, some great saves last night, let in Ochipi. But what do you think is going to happen with the netminders come postseason with as good as Marc-Andre Fleury has been, but yet you're talking about a guy in his late 30s, and you know that the game elevates in the postseason in every sport, and hockey no exception to that.
Well, Brian, a lot to unpack there. And thank you for mentioning my LA Kings and winning a couple of cups there. Okay, it's not like we got Detroit in it to win it like Yzerman or the Russian invasion. Okay, like Detroit was able to win cups like crazy. So it was a big deal in 2012 and 2014 when I grew up in LA and for the Kings to win the Stanley Cup. And you're exactly right. It was Jonathan Quick that did the job for those teams back then, and that's why he's got number retired and all that sort of stuff is going to happen when he finally does leave the Kings. But okay, as for what happens here with goalkeeping, the rotation is working right now. So I don't see that changing unless somebody gets hurt like Leonard did. And Marc-Andre Fleury stepped up tremendously when he was out for a month. But so I see the rotation. It's working. Continue with that unless somebody gets incredibly hot or somebody gets hurt. What's going to be interesting, I think, today to see is now this is going to be Fleury's. And I don't want to. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to jinx him. Okay, Marc-Andre Fleury's not listening to the show right now. I don't think he may be, but if not, turn it now, Mark. Turn it. You don't want to listen to what I'm going to say. But today he's going once again for the 4th time for win number 484 to be able to tie Ed Belfour, number 4 all time on the goalie list. He's going to get it today against Arizona. Okay, I just really want him so badly to be able to get it, accomplish this, make this happen, and I think it's going to today. It certainly should. against Arizona at home. It'd be nice to see it happen at home. It'd be nice to see it happen with a bunch of fans instead of just 3,900 that they're going to let in the arena today. But we're seeing a Hall of Famer. We are seeing one of the best hockey players of all time play here in Las Vegas. What a tremendous, I'll say blessing. I have no problem with saying that, but an opportunity, if you'd like, and realize how special this is. Also realize this, Brian, you'll appreciate this, because Detroit's having its rough time. Kings are having their rough time. You can go from winning the Stanley Cup one year and making the playoffs and doing great, and you could go to the bottom in a hurry in the NHL because there's such a fine line between the best and the worst. More than there is in football, more than there is in basketball. It's probably closer to baseball. Baseball, there's a fine line between the best and the worst team. So you can be at the top and you can fall in a hurry. And that's what has happened to your Detroit Red Wings, my LA Kings now. So Vegas Golden Knights fans appreciate what's happened here, how absolutely incredible this is that we're now 4 seasons into this franchise and they're going to make the playoffs 4 years in a row. That is absolutely incredible.
No,
and
it
one
really
year, of
is.
course,
And
go to
Ron,
the final.
Yeah, Ron, I can't emphasize enough how, and I talk about it all the time in the show, where you say to appreciate it, the fans are so spoiled here. And I really respect how many fans have taken to hockey and really made themselves knowledgeable and understand the game and understand when I say, the Knights need to play better in the neutral zone. I'm amazed that people get what that is. And when you talk about special teams, you're talking about the power play and shorthanded, and people are really embracing this. But what I don't think they realize is what you just said, that this is an anomaly. If there's, I think in Webster ought to change it when they talk about anomaly, put the Vegas Golden Knights picture next to the term, because it is amazing what we are seeing here. This team do run after run, plug and play, new players come in. You still have the heart and soul of this team. What William Karlsson did in year one, coming from the Columbus Blue Jackets, where he was basically in obscurity, I think 11 goals to 41 goals in a season was absolutely one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. I didn't expect him to continue like that, but it was really cool to see that ability and that line of Marchessault, Smith and Karlsson. That first season was magical. And again, last year, the Knights just keep going out and finding players. And it all started with the great maestro, George McPhee, who was an unbelievable, like I said, a maestro, an orchestrator, putting this team together initially, finding these 10th plus players, these guys that played with a chip on their shoulder in year one that rode them all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Loved it without question. But again, I just try to emphasize to the fans, what we're seeing is special. It is unique. They're not going to keep doing this forever. It is an absolute impossibility for that to happen. And but right now, it's still happening. It's still going on. They are going to have to start playing better against the upper echelon teams if they are going to make a run. And, real quickly, Rob, before we change subjects, last week I had Mike McKenna on, and I asked him, who does he feel needs to step up? Somebody that maybe has not been doing the job that we need him to do. And he mentioned Nicholas Waugh, how he was such a good contributor last year in the postseason and everything. And he's just kind of faded this year, not been the player that when I say we, of course, here I am being a homer, but that the Vegas Golden Knights needed, to move forward. Who do you think is a player that we need to see play a little better, and especially as we enter the postseason, if this team is going to make a run? Obviously, besides the goaltenders who are doing a fine job.
Yeah, I'm going Alex Pietrangelo. That on defense, I want to see more production. Now, defensively, he's doing the job, but I want to see more production from him offensively. He brought him here from St. Louis as a free agent to be able to contribute and score some goals. Shea Theodore's doing it. Braden McNabb is a beast, and there's a former LA King for you right there. I love watching Braden McNabb and Alec Martinez because I follow them, cover them, and I love their play with the Kings over the years. But I'm going to go there. Alex Pietrangelo, he was a captain in St. Louis, and he was this guy's a big money guy. I want to see him perform better during the playoffs. Oh, you mentioned, and you did mention who got him from Columbus, William Karlsson, back in the expansion draft. We also got Keegan Colasar from Columbus back at that same time. It was a trade. He was drafted initially by Columbus. He just turned 24 years old a couple of days ago. So happy birthday to Keegan Colasar. April 8th was his birthday. Thursday. But he was in a trade deal after we got all those draft picks during the expansion draft in 2017. He traded a second round pick to get Keegan Colasar from Columbus. So it was nice to see that George McPhee saw something in him from Columbus at that time, along with William Karlsson, two gems that they got from the Blue Jackets that are now contributing in a great way to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, and I, you stole my thunder because my guy is the same thing. I was going to say Pietrangelo as well. He is playing solid defense, but what Pietrangelo was brought in for and paid all that money is he is one of the best two-way defensemen in the National Hockey League. And this year he has tailed off on the offensive end. Need to see him play better offensively. And you're right, we will need some scoring out of this guy. He needs to step it up. And again, I'm going to leave the subject alone, but I just can't sing the praises enough about what Mark Stone has meant to this team. And, for this team to go the first couple of years without awarding a C to a player was kind of unique to see a team without a captain. What a better first captain than Mark Stone. He is absolutely just really the leader of this Vegas Golden Knights team, a two-way player, a guy that'll mix it up, and man, as good as just about anybody as putting the puck in the net in the National Hockey League. And I love the guy and love watching him play. I'm excited, and I do agree with you. I think Marc-Andre Fleury finally ties Eddie Belfour tonight, gets that win that he so desperately wants to be fourth all time, and who knows how much longer this guy will play, but I don't know. I think he's eating the same Wheaties that Tom Brady's eating. So I said Marc-Andre Fleury, this would be his last year. I stand corrected. I think the guy's got maybe 2 more years left in him, but you never know with Father Time that he can knock on your door at any point in time and end the things. Let's move forward. And real quickly, we're going to get over to Fact This, and you'll like this one too because I'm sure you're paying attention here.
Fact this. If you don't like the facts, take your ass back to bed. Fact this.
A fact that no Japanese-born player has ever led any round at the Masters. This changed yesterday when Hideki Matsuyama shot a 765 and is in the lead by 4 strokes going into today's final round. And 4 strokes is a big number to make up, but I'm sure the greenskeeper is going to have those tees in the flags in unfriendly positions. We all know it's called Amen Corner for a reason. There is no better tournament. The Masters is the Super Bowl of golf, and if you ask any professional on the PGA Tour, if you got one major you can win, I would be hard pressed to believe that any one of those guys, I don't care if you're from overseas and you've got the longest running major in the British Open, the U.S. Open here, all prestigious, but there is nothing like the green jacket. Every pro wants to wear one, and Hideki Matsuyama is in position, 4 strokes over some pretty good golfers to win the Masters today. Ronnie, you been keeping up with it?
Oh yeah, no, it's been fun. It's fun to watch, enjoyable to watch, and what he's can do here today will be remarkable. I expect him to, because it's that 4-stroke lead. That's tough to be able to for anybody to overcome that. But you got guys, Justin Rose, who's there, Jordan Spieth, he's got a green jacket, and Matsuyama hasn't won. I'm trying to think. It's probably been 4 or 5 years, maybe 3 or 4 years since he's won on the tour. He's won a handful of times, so he's won tour. He's won events, of course, never won a major. But this would be enjoyable. I think a lot of people rooting for him today. Xander Schauffele, he's the one that's 4 strokes back, has the best shot, but he got 4 guys chasing him right there. That all, if he slips, he's got Justin Rose, Xander Schauffele, Mark Leishman. I don't know a whole lot about Will Zalatoris, but all of them at 7 under. Zalatoris.
Yeah, he's a first time ever competing in the Masters, and he was talking about that his whole life. Well, everyone says that, playing in his backyard, playing on his home course, just imagining this moment, and he's had it in his mind so long that he's really says that this is what he's planned on doing. So he hasn't faded. He's 7 under par, which is unbelievable, and tied for second with the guys you just mentioned. Justin Rose shoots that 65 on Thursday, but he's been even par the last 2 days. Hit a big par shot on 18, big putt, I should say, to stay 7 under and in that contention. But you're right, a 4-stroke lead is going to be tough. The best Hideki's ever done is in 2017. He tied for second in the U.S. Open. His best finish in the Masters, 5th in 2015. Tied for 4th in the PGA in 2016, and in the Open Championship, his best finish tied for 6th in 2013. This would be unbelievable if this guy wins the Masters. It's funny because I'm listening to Andy North on ESPN the other day say if he wins this thing, it's going to make him a billionaire for the endorsements he will get in Japan, and that he will basically become the ambassador. It is a really cool story. And yesterday, you know what's crazy? I don't know if you know this. Ron, but he hit only 5 fairways yesterday, which is really amazing when you think he shot a 7 under, hitting 5 fairways. But the bottom line is his putting was exceptional, but it was the iron play. The iron play was unbelievable. Everything was spot on. He just had his distance dialed in. And at the Masters, if you've got your distance dialed in, you can handle the swirling wind that really catches you at Amen Corner, and you can avoid Rays Creek on 3 holes. He's going to win the Masters.
No, it's going to be fun to watch, and a lot of people rooting for him today and see what happens. I don't have a favorite in there that I'm going to be, like say, rooting for. As a lefty, I've loved over the years to see Mike Weir, to see Phil Mickelson, also most recently Bubba Watson. There was a run there where left-handed golfers won at the Masters 4 out of 7 years. So I was starting to think that Augusta was a left-handed golf course, and that when I play it, I'll actually play well there. That's in my dreams, by the way, Brian. That would be only in my dreams that I could play there and play well there. but Tony Finau would be somebody. I know his story quite a bit up in Utah and what he's done with great family of golfers up there, what they can do. So whoever comes away with this one, I'm fine with it. It's going to be fun to see and fun to watch. I'll be checking it out on Channel 8 today on CBS to see what happens. But I don't really have anybody in that group that I'm rooting for. I mean, come on, Rory McIlroy. I love the Northern Ireland golfer. In fact, I used to live in Ireland, so I have some roots there. Love to see whenever that can happen. One of these days, Ricky Fowler has to do something in a major. Brian, don't you think? I mean, one of these days, I'd love to see Ricky Fowler do something. And,
I just said, Ron, I was talking about him. I don't know if you know this. Ricky Fowler did not get an invitation to the Masters this year. There's a bunch of ways to qualify, and he didn't. He's watching from home, and I agree with you. I was liking him to Samson. I said Delilah cut his damn hair, and he needs to grow it back because he was playing really well and always compete when he had that long flowing hair. Women followed and screaming, and somehow he cuts his hair, and all of a sudden he looks like the Great Gatsby. It's like, dude, grow your hair back. Maybe that'll do something. But he has lost part of his game, and really, Ron, the one thing with golfing is, you drive for show and putt for dough, and it is the blade that makes the difference. Matsuyama, like 180th in the world or something in putting, and this week he's like number 2, and you always see that in the tournaments when the best putter is in contention on Sunday. And Ricky Fowler's blade has gone away from him, and if he doesn't get it back, he's 32 now, which is amazing to think he's already in his 30s, but this is something that messes with your head, and you got to get a coach and figure out how to make the putter work. That's what made Jordan Spieth so special in his run where he had those 2 years, man. He was just banging everything. 12 foot and in was almost a gimme for him, and that's what's going to happen today. I really like, I like Justin Rose. I really like the fact he's hanging there. Leishman, like you said, it would be nice to see him do something. Schauffele, I think, is an up-and-comer. This kid is going to win his share of golf tournaments and will win his share of majors. And by the way, you mentioned Hideki Matsuyama. He's got 5 PGA Tour wins, but this would be by far the most monumental thing. I really think, looking down here, Ron, I think if you're looking at a leader with 11 under, how deep can you go with the guy to win? I think there's 7 players that have a chance, and I'm only saying Jordan Spieth is the 7th player having a chance. He's 5 under, but we all know how good this kid can be. If his head is right, he doesn't get upset. Jordan Spieth could make a run, but I don't see anyone deeper than that making a run. Finau's too low. 3 under's not going. You're not going to come back.
Yeah, that's
8
not going to
strokes
happen.
in the Masters, and even Harmon, who's played really well, 4 under. Spieth is probably out of the picture at 5 under, but again, just because of how good we know he can be, if the putter is on and he starts hitting a few long putts, maybe gets an eagle or two, he could be alive in the tournament. But I really think that it's the top 5 guys right now. So, and Matsuyama, the key is, can he stay out of his own way? Can he handle the pressure of Sunday at Augusta? And the one good thing is he doesn't have to play with Tiger Woods, because that's an X factor. The gallery, and you don't have the galleries again because of COVID-19 that you once had, which does take a little bit of pressure off of these golfers. But I really believe today is Matsuyama's day. I think it's a day for Japan. It's a day for history, and it's going to be a really cool thing to watch this guy navigate Augusta on a Sunday and see if he can stay out front and not let these guys from behind, not let the field catch up to him. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I'm going to say something very selfish here. Here's what I hope happens, though. I hope he collapses early. How's that? And here's my thinking. No, and here's my thought: is I want to see 5 guys battling it down the stretch. Okay, if he wins, I don't care who wins. Like I said, I have nobody in this fight that I'm rooting for in any sense for any reason. But I'd like to see a great final round of the Masters. The only way that happens is if he stumbles early. Okay, so I hate to say this, Hideki, but yeah, I hope you let the field back in and let's have a good finish to the Masters today. And then if you win it, great.
No, I would like to see him win it. I wouldn't mind seeing him win it in a playoff against a guy like Will Zalatoris in his first ever Masters. How cool would that be? The first ever Japanese-born player to lead a round and then win it in a playoff against a guy who's playing in his first ever Masters. Nothing like that has happened. And what a good year, what a good Masters it would be, especially with all the crap we've gone through this last year. Ron, I want to switch gears again and talk a little bit about local sports. I was going to talk about the NCAA tournament and Baylor's magical win with a former UNLV player, Jonathan Chichua, getting, averaging about 20 minutes a game through the NCAA tournament, showing that UNLV does actually recruit some decent players. They just get better when they leave and get proper coaching. But that's my segue into UNLV basketball. Both of us in the last 2 weeks have had the opportunity to talk with Kevin Kruger. I watched your interview, by the way, my friend. I thought it was great. You advised me when we saw when we watched the viewing party together, to check out the interview, and I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. I saw Andy Grossman sitting off to your left, a little bit of pressure with him. He asked the wrong question, and his eyebrows start going sideways. But it was a great interview. I got a chance to interview him a couple weeks ago on the show, and I've got to tell you, after your interview and then my interview with the guy, Ron, I think it was a great hire, and I hope it wasn't a bailout hire for Desiree Francois. Again, I always sound like I'm hating on her, and I'm not. I just think she's a lousy athletic director, and I've said it, and I'm not going to pull any punches. The show's called Out of Line for a reason. And, but aside from that, I really enjoy this kid. I think, with his father there, the ability to recruit is going to step up. And I think we're 3 years away from seeing UNLV compete for Mountain West title legitimately. And I think this kid is going to do the job. He definitely has the genes, not necessarily the pedigree, the coaching pedigree yet, but he's young. He's enthusiastic. He played his final year here in Las Vegas after he graduated, and he took this team as a starting point guard to the Sweet 16 the last time they've had any success. What are your thoughts? Do you think Kevin Kruger is a good fit?
Yeah, for the first time in years, there's optimism in this program, and that I like seeing. This program has had a horrific run of bad luck. Okay, and I'm gonna go. I can go back 30 years because I can. I can go back 40 years because I can. I've been here almost that long. But after Dark Max and all that stuff happened here at UNLV, and you don't want to get me going on that because then we'd have to. That's a 4-hour show. But they've got. Look at the bad luck over the last 5-6 years that this program has had. Chris Beard Mick Cronin was committed to taking the job and then backed out the last minute. Chris Beard was going to took the job for 12 days and then went off to Texas Tech. Then you had the situation here with it didn't work out with Marvin Menzies. It didn't work out with TJ Otzelberger. Now, where the good luck happened was TJ wasn't taking this program anywhere. Nice guy, like him, but boy, tremendous good luck that Iowa State wanted him. Okay, I'm still not sure why, but there's a connection there with the athletic director, his wife, and their friends and the family. Okay, good. I'm saying here now, UNLV finally needs some good luck here. That job opens up. He takes that job so they don't have to fire TJ. Oh, wait a minute. They got to buy him out $3.5 million. So they get $3.5 million from Iowa State so TJ can leave. And then all of a sudden things fall in line. And I think there was some manipulation of this, which I'm fine with, by the way. I'm fine with if Lon Kruger, if part of the deal was Lon Kruger, hey, tell you what, you hire Kevin, I leave Oklahoma, I come back to Vegas, I help out in any way that I can. If they plan that out in advance, bless them for doing that, because that's now the good luck. And if they did it afterwards and it was organic, that's okay. It doesn't matter either way. But I think it's sort of an interesting part of the story. And yes, the timing, great for Kevin to come here. I'm optimistic, finally, for the first time in a long time, probably since Dave Rice took the job, that I have some optimism about where this program is going. Recruiting, interesting, and I'm going to compare this. I'm going to go with compare Tark and Kruger, and they both had a great mutual respect for each other. And I talked to both of them about each other back when Tark was alive and Kruger was coaching in 06, 07, around that time. But anyway, if you look at both of those guys, they never recruited the great blue chip athletes. They recruited good athletes and made them better to play better as a team when they got here. It's crazy as it sounds. Tark never got the great recruits, nor did Lon Kruger for that matter. Bano got the great recruits. Dave Rice got the great recruits. Kevin Kruger, I'm optimistic that if he gets this combination of getting some real good recruits here and has his dad here to help him at whatever level his dad helps him, if it's an assistant, an unpaid assistant, and whatever, to help him out in whatever way he can, he certainly will. And I think I'm just optimistic that Kevin Kruger can make something good happen. And I wasn't that optimistic when they hired TJ. Wasn't that optimistic with Marvin Menzies. Looking back over the years, hated the Rolly Massimino hire. That was an April Fool's joke in 1992. That was the most horrific April Fool's joke in the city's history. So I go down the list of Charlie Spoonhour was a nice guy. He was a rebuilder and that sort of stuff. So I can go down the list of all the coaches. This one I'm happy about. This one I'm optimistic. You say 3 years. I think they can compete for the Mountain West Conference sooner than that. And here's why. Because the conference is not that tough. You get one or two players and you start playing well. You can do some things quickly in this conference. But I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic that something good can happen. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to cover Rebel basketball and feel good about it. And it's been a while since that's happened for a lot of people in this community.
Oh, I would agree with you 100%. I'm optimistic and excited too. And the reason I say 3 years is, of course, TJ, he's going to steal anything he can from here. So he's taking Caleb Grill, in my opinion, good riddance. Caleb Grill, a perimeter shooter, couldn't play defense, and he's a streak shooter. And his streaks seem to come once every 3 or 4 games. The one guy that they are going to lose is, in my opinion, one of the best players in the conference, who really, his motor got turned off last year. He completely lost the desire to play at this school. We saw it in Bryce Hamilton, but every now and again when Bryce Hamilton decided to show his flair, there was NBA skills there. And I hear it's probably going to be between Kentucky, and he might even go play for Chris Beard at Texas Tech. And when I knew he was leaving, when I talked to Kevin Kruger, and I said, obviously your first priority is to talk to the guys once TJ leaves. And I asked him, did you talk to Bryce Hamilton? And he said, yeah, of course we talked to Bryce. And he goes, and he basically said, I don't want players here that don't want to be here. And that gave me my answer right there, that Bryce is long gone before he even makes a commitment. It's just, where will Bryce Hamilton end up? But that's why I say 3 years. You got to get the players in. But if they can go out and get a couple of talented freshmen, he does get a couple of the pieces that to stay at UNLV that can help him. You never know. But I do like the long-term lookout. And again, I am excited to cover the team, and I'm really excited to see what he looks like on the bench as a head coach. That's going to be a really interesting thing. Is he going to be fiery? Is he going to be kind of more laid back? Lon was both, but Lon Kruger, the one thing about him, and you said it yourself, one of the nicest guys that you're going to see at the collegiate level coaching. Always accommodating, always looking out for the school on and off the basketball floor. He was a part of the community, and he proves his love for the community by buying a $3 million house, I think, up in Anthem. And pretty cool to see him here. I'm happy about that, and I'm happy about Kevin Kruger. I like the hire. And I mentioned Desiree Reed-Francois. I want to ask you about this. One thing that really, really bothered me, Ron, and the only guy I heard it other than me call him out on the radio was our mutual friend Brian Shapiro, when she said, number one, when she said she took her name out of the hat at UCLA, and when everyone knew her name wasn't even in the hat, she wasn't even on the brim. So to say that, it was just like, just to basically mention, hey, they were looking at me, which really pissed me off, because that was making an idiot out of all of us. And then recently, no one's called her out on this, but I have, and I've done it last week, and I want to ask your opinion. When she tried to say that TJ Otzelberger going to Iowa State shows the direction that this university is going in, that's just and trying to say that he's such a good coach that, look, he's being taken by a Division I, Power 5 conference school, when, as you mentioned earlier, the only reason TJ Otzelberger is there, number one, they have been horrific the last years, the worst basketball that team has played in years under their former head coach. His wife, the highest recruited or the highest drafted player in WNBA history out of Iowa State, and he was there. He coached under Fred Hoiberg. He was there for 8 years as an assistant. It's tenure. I got to believe the boosters and the alumni behind the scene are not real thrilled with that hire, but that's why the guy went there. It had absolutely nothing to do with what he did at UNLV, other than the guys were decent academically.
He was 500 in a crappy conference. Okay. And that
was scheduling St. Benedictine Mesa. I mean, for God's sakes.
Well, the Little Sisters of the Poor have a good power forward that's 6'3", power forward, 120. You never know. Maybe a little light for the power forward position. Okay, Desiree doesn't want to be here. You can tell that early on with her, and I've said that. And so this city. How can I say this delicately? This is probably the phoniest city in the planet. And I'm talking about the Strip. I'm talking about, we just make stuff up. Okay, we got a fake Paris. We got a fake New York. We got fake castles down there. Okay, that's what Vegas does. That's what the Strip is and what downtown is. But that being said, probably the phoniest city structurally in the planet. But we don't like phonies in the city. Okay, we can spot them. We can spot people that are coming here that just want to use the city for a quick fix or whatever and be able to get out. Okay, well, we do that sometimes too. But I don't like that happening with the university. I don't like that happening with the school here. I didn't like it when I saw Rolly Massimino come here and do that. I didn't like it when I've seen other athletic directors that have come here and done that. But you could spot early on, she has no interest in dealing with the media on any level, barely. She also, and I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, and this is with Brad Rothermel, who was the athletic director when Tark won this championship, and they won 30, over a 10-year period, they won 30 Big West championships in a variety of sports. Baseball was going to the World Series every year. Women's basketball was top 10. Barry Bartow in the soccer program was a top 10 program. Swimming, 10 across the board. Every UNLV sports program was a contender on a national level back when Tark was here. That's important to know that, okay? And Brad Rothermel was the athletic director. He told me one time, he said, Ron, watch athletic directors or administrators at the university and see how they react in good times and bad times. And a great athletic director, when there's a bad time and a rough time, say there's been a scandal of some sort or players gotten in trouble, which happened often when Tark was here, he said, the athletic director will be there front and center to cover for the coaches and the athletes. And the office will be open and you come talk to the athletic director to help cover for them. Then watch them when they win. Watch the athletic director or the administrator, school president, watch them when they win and see how they react. And if they want to stay in the back and they put the players and the coaches up front to get all the glory for victory. Case in point, Brad Rothermel, when UNLV won the national championship, I watched him and observed him. The team and all the players are up there getting pictures taken, and Brad standing behind the photographers. Behind the photographers, not getting any pictures. Park sees this, realizes that, grabs Brad and said, Brad, he had to force him. He had to force Brad Rothermel to get in some of those national championship photos that he was in. While he was the athletic director, he was happy when the Rebels won the championship in 1990 to sit back, stay in the background. Carol Harder, when she was university president, and Jason Thomas back when they won and they went to the Las Vegas Bowl, and they won the Las Vegas Bowl here and beat Reno, I think, to go to the game. And there's a few famous photos of her jumping up on the stage with Jason Thomas and John Robinson, the university president, Carol Harder, up there holding the trophy over her head like she played middle linebacker, like she was part of the team. And she's up there, all the glory to her, and sometimes standing in front of players on the stage to be able to get her face and her mug out there so that people could see her. Since Brad taught me that and showed that to me, I've observed athletic directors, and also you could apply this to anything in life for that matter, but sports, it's more dramatic because the stakes are higher and things. But I think getting this down to Desiree Reed-Francois, I think she's the Carol Harder type. I think she's the type that if UNLV had any bit of success, she would put herself up there front and center. But when crap flies, her office door is locked and closed, and you can't find her to answer a question about what happened here, what happened there. She's a PR queen, and that's, we don't have much use. I don't, quite frankly, have much use for that. A bad PR queen, I'll put it there, in the sense that she only wants to be there when something is perceived as good happening. But crap flies, she's hiding, she's running, she's nowhere to be found. I have no use for that type of administrator. They should be the exact opposite of that, and that's what Brad Rothermel was when he was at UNLV.
Very well said. And I'm not gonna rub any more salt in the wound of Desiree Reed-Francois. She's been a nice person when I've talked to her. Won't come on my show, I guess, because I speak my mind and say what I want to say. Last thing, we're just about out of time. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Ron, you've been in this town a long time, a quarter century of reporting sports in Las Vegas, as long as anyone wants to see everything. You got 60 seconds. What is your favorite memory in Las Vegas of covering sports?
Oh, wow. A couple of things real quick. I mean, being in Denver when the Rebels won the national championship in McNichols Arena and sitting there and hearing the crowd chant. Okay, and this is significant when you look at what Gonzaga was not able to do. No mid-major has won a national championship in football or basketball since UNLV did it in 1990. They also scored more than 100 points in the championship game. That's never happened before. They also greatest margin of victory, 30 points. Never happened before. I remember being 2 minutes left in the game and the Rebels were up by 28 or 27 or something like that. And I remember the crowd chanting, "Big West, Big West, Big West," the fans, the student section. And I thought, wow, this sort of matters here, that the Big West is taking down the ACC, the most powerful conference in basketball at the time. And a little old conference out west here is doing that. What a remarkable moment it was. I mean, I could put that up there. Covering Hagler Hearns at Caesars the first year after I got here in 84. 85 was Hagler Hearns at Caesars Palace.
Hey, we're out of time.
Okay.
I hate to cut you off, my friend. I appreciate you so much. We're definitely going to have you on the show. Rod Futrell, again, sports anchor reporter for 8 News Now. Check him out. He is great and a plethora of knowledge. I'm Brian Feldman. I want to thank Spencer Ostrovsky, Damon Cotton back in the studio, and, of course, Jennifer Metzger and Dylan Reese for letting us be here at Kickers Gaming and Sports Bar. Come on down. This place is awesome. A great place to watch the Masters, the best place to watch Vegas Golden Knights game. We're out. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.